Hello, and welcome to the Footy Podcast. To benefit Here's Help. Here's Help is a nonprofit comprehensive rehabilitation and educational agency that's been providing treatment services in South Florida since 1968. For more information on Here's Help or Footy's podcast, you can contact us at 305-685-8201. If you need help or know someone who has a substance abuse or alcohol problem, you can call our admissions office at 305-685-8201, extension 224. If you'd like to make a cash donation to Here's Help and join the fight against drug abuse, call Footy at 305-685-8201, extension 227. Now, here's Footy.
Welcome to the Here's Help show. I'm Footy. I'm your host. Ron Hersey is our co-host and engineer. How do you like that? But anyway, this is our podcast. We do it once a week. If you want to contact us, just go on to here'shelpinc.com and you'll find us and you can contact us. And we will, we invite a lot of people to come and be guests on the show. So the podcast is not just based in the Here's Help show and based at Here's Help. It's also, we have guests, we talk to different people. You'll hear some of that in the show today. So let's refresh everybody as to what Here's Help is. Here's Help is a program on the corner of 151st and Northwest 27th Avenue in Miami Gardens. We have a property that has a school, because we have Dade County school teachers here, and they teach in our school to our young guys. A lot happens here that's dependent on your age. And then we have our regular, I guess you call it our regular school age, or adult people. And they would either be going to our culinary program, or they would be going to gardens, or they would be working around the grounds. We're building also. We finally got a. We got the right to build a plumbing school, which is what our next project is. So, and we're just breaking ground now, but we'll keep people posted as we go along. But our campus, we have a ball field, we have a basketball court, we have, all types of activities. We have a gym, we have where people can go and work out. But most of our activities in the recreational activities, they're kind of in a different category. It's not like when you're in the culinary program, you're in the culinary program, and you're in, whatever it is, you're in that. But later in the day, we start with recreational types of things. Again, basketball, flag football, volleyball, and all the things that we do. And then from there, we go into, we eat, and then we go into counseling, and we go into our regular regime. For example, Mike's with us. Give us a rundown of what your day is like, what you do.
Basically.
Now, you graduated recently.
Yes, I have.
Yeah,
January 8th, I graduated. It's been a blessing. But basically, on a normal day, we get up at 7, breakfast from 7:30 to 8:30, 8:30 to 11, 8:30 to 11:30 we'll have classes. Some of us might be in culinary, some of us might be in agriculture, or when you first get here, you'll be on the maintenance team. Lunch will be at 11:30 to 11 to 12:30, and then we'll continue our classes to 2:00 p.m. At 2:00, we'll go to the dorms. Everybody switch up for PE. PE is at 2:15, about 2:30, and we'll have PE to 3:30. Like you said, we'll play all different activities.
Yeah, basketball, football.
Basketball, flag football, kickball, stickball, volleyball.
Right.
And then after that, we go back to the dorms. We'll shower.
And we actually have large complex.
Yeah.
You know, there's a lot of room here.
Yeah.
And that helps us do a lot of those things.
Right, yeah. We have a good field out there. Like you said, we have the basketball courts, the volleyball.
Yeah. We have a running
soccer.
track.
Yeah, the running
We also
track.
have some equipment that's permanently placed out in the field.
Yeah.
You know, and you can go on that and work out and do what you want to do.
Right, indoor and outdoor.
Yeah.
'Cause like you said, we got the indoor gym too. So
Yeah.
a couple times a week, some of the guys get in the gym.
Yeah.
No. But after PE, we'll go back to the dorm, shower, change, and then by 4:00 on Monday, Wednesday, Fridays, we'll have our group sessions, therapy. Dinner will be at 5:30, and then afternoon classes at 6:00 Monday through Thursday. Some you'll have. Like I did photography. Some people have graphics. There's music.
Yeah, you did pretty
art.
good with the photography.
Yeah. I've been doing a lot of
Did
things.
you? Did you learn that here, or did you?
I always had a thing for photography. I just never had the willpower. I never had the motivation to go and take it
Right.
somewhere. But then when I got here and I met the photographer teacher, Lane, he's the one that put the motivation in my back. So,
Oh, very good.
you know, I did a lot of things with photography. I've built portfolios. I've got introduced to award-winning photographer Carl Just from the Miami Herald and Time Magazine, and should be working on some projects in the next upcoming months.
Good. So you like the photography?
Yeah.
Yeah. One of the things that we do that I think is a little different is we don't just have the regimen, the program regimen.
Right.
We have a lot of other things that take place along with that, and that's, I think, what makes us different is we try to access things in our area that are important to us and can be helpful, as opposed to just having like NAAA. And I'm not knocking that. That's fine. It's great if it works for you. But we have an environment that has all those things already built into it. So you can just, your case is a perfect case. You have photography,
Right.
and who's your counselor, Anka?
Anka, yeah.
Yeah, so you're with her all the time.
Yeah.
And
I feel like the program, it prepares us more than, you know, I never been to another program, but I hear some of the programs is strictly, you know, just NA and counseling, which is good. It's good, you know, it helps people out a lot and everything, especially if you want it. But at least this program sets you up with possibly a career or job training and everything. It does more than just, you know, NA and counseling. Like
yeah, it prepares you for a real life, which is where you're going.
Exactly.
The replacement life,
Yeah,
as
the
you call
replacement
it.
life.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's an important thing that people don't understand. For us, is that, you know, you'll go into the drug use part of your life, and but at some point you have to stop or die, and if you stop, then you have to start to make the replacement life. In other words, it's unrealistic to think like, say I'm that person. Oh, I think I'll stop today. You know, it just doesn't work like that.
Well, it consumes your every waking hour eventually, even if it doesn't start out that way. Didn't you find that to be your case?
Right, yeah.
So from the minute you wake up till the time you go to sleep,
Yeah, exactly.
your focus is on substances.
Mm-hmm.
And that's 8, sometimes depending on what kind of substance you're using, it could be a couple of days
Yeah.
that you're going. So that's a lot of hours to fill up.
Well, you're bringing up a very good point, and it's the replacement life. In other words, here you are, and you're going through life, and now you're, say, 17, 18, whatever age, and you get involved in drugs. So now you stop going to school, you start stealing, doing all the other things that take place there.
Right.
So when you stop that, what do? Well, you have to have a replacement life prepared, or you have to prepare a replacement life. In other words, you don't go from the drug world, and go to college. You got to find a replacement life. You have to get another path that you're going to take.
Well, and that's an interesting point too. It's taken several years. It took you several years to get in this position.
Yeah.
So it's not something that you can alleviate in 6 weeks.
Yeah,
It takes a while to undo.
Yeah, well, in my case, I was there. I didn't know when I was going to see the light of day, but I started to set up the replacement life, as you're talking about. And you know what I did? I had a girlfriend, and I used her as my replacement life. Mm-hmm. To this day, I don't think she even knows that what I did. But I didn't. It wasn't for her. That's what I had to do. And she got it eventually, and we still talk, and we're still friends. And she lives out in California, and that helped me out a lot. But after I got on the replacement path, well, then I had to first get a job. Then I also had to get a way to get to the job. Then I started going to college, which was all in the same area, and where I was. And it took, I would say, conservatively, 2 years more than 2 years. I was in that path. But then what happened is, and Dr. Sears, for those of you who don't know, is a psychiatrist and a very she's unfortunately passed away, but she was a good messenger for me. She helped me out a lot. Plus, they did some things back then that were different. If you were allowed, like say you were during the week, you were allowed to work. Well, but on weekends we would have, gatherings, so that you or me or whoever it was would have a place to go. And I used to go, but eventually I got past that, and I was allowed to function. But Dr. Sears, she called me in her office and she said, "Listen." I said, "Yeah, what?" She goes, "You got to get out of here." I go, "Well, what do you mean?" She goes, "They're waiting for you, and they're not going away."
The police?
Yeah. Well, the narcotics squad.
Oh, yeah.
They were not going away. They weren't forgetting anything. They weren't letting bygones be bygones. And she said, "I'm protecting you now." She said, "But you got to get out of here," which is what I did. In fact, it was on Woodstock weekend.
Yeah, we've talked about that.
Yeah.
That was a pretty fitting and appropriate farewell.
Well, no, I was with a car full of girls.
Right.
I was walking around, it was like big deal. I've been to a lot of festivals and I've been to a lot of concerts.
Right.
And I didn't find that one to be anything.
Well,
it wasn't any good.
It was very disorganized.
Yeah, it was stupid.
Long periods of time where there was no music playing on the stage.
Yeah, but I'm staying in a resort.
Well, that's what I'm saying. Of all the ways to leave your past behind, to go to probably the biggest rock festival ever, not by success, but by just the sheer size and the legendary aspect of Woodstock.
Yeah, but in my era,
right,
that wasn't really that big a deal.
Well, when it happened,
it was poorly arranged. Right. We were used to going to Newport, to Atlantic City, and
technology was not very advanced.
Yeah, there's nothing there.
You can barely hear the bands.
Yeah, I was bored. I couldn't wait to get out of it, to be honest with you.
But pretty funny for you to leave your city that way, and then to come down here.
That was just that. By the way, was just a coincidence that I was planning to leave that Monday morning at 5 a.m.
You had nothing to do for the weekend anyway.
Yeah, so I went up with a bunch of girls. I got in the car and went up there, and I stayed in the. I think it was the Laurel. I think I stayed in the girls' dormitory.
People are staying at the festival on sleeping bags if they're lucky, laying in mud. It rained, the place flooded. And,
I was eating in the restaurant at the resort, and then I would sit on the porch and watch everybody walking by, and they're dying and fainting and all this stuff.
I don't think even the bands had it as good as you did that weekend.
Yeah, well, I wasn't. To be honest with you, the bands at Woodstock were not a good.
Well, they were unknowns for the most
part. They were like, who are you?
Right.
And
I think that was only the second time Crosby, Stills, and Nash had ever even performed.
Yeah, I was
no one
very.
Had ever heard of them.
We were thinking more like Bob Dylan and things
Who
of that
didn't show.
Yeah, huh?
The rumor was he was going to be there, but
that's why they showed up. Yeah, you happen to be right. Yeah. And he lived there, but he never had any intentions to go to that.
Well, that was right. Wasn't that around the time he had that motorcycle accident? I think he was.
Well, I think he had it before, and then he was up. He's had a house. That's where he lived.
Yeah, Big Pink was the house.
Is that what it's called?
Mm-hmm.
And he was reclusive in that house, and the thinking of all the people that were coming from all over the country and was that he was going to show up.
Right. That was the rumor.
Yeah, and he wasn't showing up. He wasn't on. Nobody was showing up. They were all B acts, and they were all coming up. Some of them were pretty good. Some of them worked out, but it wasn't the gold standard that you normally got. If I went to Forest Hills, or if I went to a concert in Queens, where they had the tennis stadium and all that kind of stuff, it was, there were big acts, and that's what they were.
Right.
In fact, I went to a show there, and what was his name? The opening act was The Doors, the group The Doors. Mm-hmm. All right, it was like a California, and they were trying to get them going, and we were in Forest Hills to see. We were going there to see Simon and Garfunkel and everybody else, and they came out. It's in the movie. They came out and. It was like, who are these clowns?
Right.
And what are they? And people were throwing stuff. They were like, boo, get out of here, boo. And they finally got them off the stage. Mm-hmm. But, that was the music world back then.
Yeah. I think the only act that anybody had ever heard of at Woodstock was The Who. Even Hendrix was relatively unknown. I mean,
yeah, he was there.
Yeah, and he didn't get on because of the things got so out of whack, and there was so much dead space between bands because.
Oh, it was ridiculous. Hours.
Hendrix was supposed to go on at 11 o'clock at night. He didn't go on until 6 a.m. the next morning.
Yeah, it was just.
Which was why he played the national anthem on the guitar.
Well, but there was no infrastructure. There was no structure.
Yeah, there
wasn't even like a. There wasn't even like a wagon selling Coke.
Right.
Well,
they were selling Coke.
Yeah, they were selling Coke. No, I mean, they didn't even have like a hot dog stand. There was nothing there.
Right.
Thank God I had the wisdom to stay in the resort with the girls.
Yeah,
I was going across the street every day to 3 times a day. Oh, yeah, I'll have that coconut custard. And can you bring me
How's the steak?
Yeah, it's not what it was like.
And I think the only there was one guy that had a hamburger stand that he set up there, and it caught on fire and burned up. So
yeah, because there was no hamburger. You couldn't get a hot dog there.
No food.
Nothing there. It was ridiculous. And
well, it was planned by a bunch of hippies. So
it really wasn't planned at all.
Yeah. Well,
you hit it on the head. It was fueled by the rumor that Bob Dylan was going to going to be there. And he lived there, and they went over and they rented this guy's farmyard, and that was that. We walked I think I walked, well, I was only there 2 nights, and at night I would walk to the thing. And you know what, but there were people there that hitchhiked across the country.
Yeah.
I was walking, and there's this 2 guys and 2 girls, and I'm walking, and they're talking and whatever, and I happen to hear them, and I'm like, really? And they were from California. The girls met those guys on their
on the trip,
right? And they got the guys to carry their bags for them. And I'm walking. I said, "No, I ain't carrying nothing.
Yeah.
This is what I got.
Right.
You can walk back to California, as far as I'm concerned." And when it got to the end, as soon as they got near the field. The girls took their bags and walked away, and I looked at them and I said, "You jerks!" I warned you they were going to do that. I said, "Get away from me! Get out of here!"
Oh man! Well, speaking of big events, we are. It's almost time for the Superbowl 2021, and the lineup is in: Tampa Bay Buccaneers, Kansas City Chiefs, Tom Brady, and Patrick Mahomes. So it looks like, from a game standpoint, we're going to get an interesting game for a change, because in the past couple of games have not been all that exciting. They've been kind of routes. But there's all kinds
But we got to take a break, right?
We do, and we're going to talk about the Super Bowl as soon as we get...
I went to a number of those things.
We're going to get your take on that as well. Okay. We'll be right back.
Have you been introduced to Footy Sauce? Footy Sauce makes it easy to give ordinary chicken wings extraordinary flavor. Footy Wing Sauce is made with a perfect blend of herbs and spices. So what are you waiting for? Pour it on. Footy's Wing Sauce guarantees you a better tasting chicken wing every single time. When you fire up the grill, pour it on. Let Footy be your wingman. Kick your next party up a notch with Footy Sauce. Grab Footy's Wing Sauce and pour it on.
Well, welcome back, and I hope you enjoyed the first part of our podcast this morning, but now we're going to move on to part 2. We went to trials and tribulations of footy in escaping from the environment that I was in. But anyway, I moved to Florida. I came here to go to school. I went to Miami-Dade. Well, I wanted to go to FIU. And when I got here, I went over to Biscayne Boulevard, and there was a big sign, FIU.
Coming soon.
Coming soon. And there was nothing there.
That's funny.
So I ended up going to Miami-Dade, which was good. Worked out very good for me.
It's funny. My son goes to FIU now. Of course, now it's way out on 107th and Tamiami Trail.
Oh, that's there.
And we went out.
The original place was on Biscayne Boulevard.
And I think they still have a campus there.
Yeah, they might.
But my son was taking us on a walking tour of the campus, and I passed along to him your story of how you wanted to come there, and the term artist rendering didn't really ring a bell with you. He got a big kick out of that. You should see that campus now.
Oh, I have.
It's unbelievable. I
eventually went to it.
And the architecture is like, there are no 2 buildings the same on that campus. It's like they must have let the architecture department design the buildings, which I'm sure was a major headache for the construction guys, because some of the architecture is a little not outrageous, but it certainly isn't your normal brick and mortar square buildings. I'm sure that kind of stuff's not easy to build.
Yeah, I eventually graduated from FIU.
And, it's an amazing story. I mean, you were talking about in the first segment about your past, and to go from, I don't even know how to describe, I can't even begin to really understand what your life must have been like.
Well, I was going to Nassau Community College also during that period of that 2 years. So
with the cops chasing after you.
Yeah, well, I had
you had quite a record, and I mean, you had. I guess what I was trying to say is you had all the elements in place for complete total failure.
Right.
And to be able to rise above that with the help of Dr. Sears, and not only rise above it and put that behind you, but then to come down here at a time when, and I don't know if that was by design or not, but when you came to Miami, it was probably one of the biggest drug centers in the whole United States.
Not really.
The cocaine cowboys, and they were buying their own
the cocaine
things
stuff hadn't come up yet. It was.
Well,
they were smoking weed.
Right.
That's what they were doing. I had absolutely no interest in that. And I was moving on.
Right. And to come down here and to start this facility, and like I've said so many times, to see it grow from one building, a house on the corner, to this huge sprawling campus and off-campus things, and it's quite a story. I mean, to come from that kind of a past and to accomplish what you've done and to help young men achieve what you achieved is pretty incredible.
And women, people don't realize it.
Well, for a while, there was co-ed.
We had both, but
right.
We still have the women, but they just come through our outpatient program.
Right.
And because that's numerically,
mm-hmm.
that's kind of it works out better that way.
Right. And to not only do this, but then to start on the radio, something you'd never even done before.
Yeah, I didn't even know what they were talking about.
Which end of a microphone to use.
Yeah, I didn't.
And I can remember when we worked together, I love you, but you have no sense of technical stuff.
Oh, yeah, I had no idea.
I can't tell you how many times you'd be like, Ron, come here. How do I do this?
I had absolutely no idea.
And not only to stay at one radio station, which is completely unheard of in this industry, but to stay at that radio station for as long as you did, which is also completely unheard of.
Yeah, I retired from radio on.
How long were you on the air?
40 years.
That's amazing. I mean, I can't think of a single personality, and every major market has that one guy who's been there forever. I think there was a guy in Dallas, Chapman, that was there for 100 years, and Biondi, and Lou Jack, and all these. But
I didn't know any of those people.
Right, and
all I knew was Y100. That was it.
And you outlasted them all.
Yeah. And
then with the help of.
And by the way, I could have stayed, but I said, enough's enough. Let's get out of here. And I was trying to leave for about a year, and they kept putting me off, and I finally did.
Well, one of the things you say here all the time is get away from the old friends and the old places, and so you really did.
No, there was a lot of things going on there.
And then, thanks to the help of Bill Tanner, you became a sportscaster, and that meant sports credentials.
That's where I started.
Right.
But I had no idea. I'm walking down the hallway one day, and Jim really was the host of the...
He was the guy. He was the...
Yeah. And he grabs me, and we did the show. We recorded a show. I didn't even know what he was talking about.
Right.
And it worked. We did it, and I started doing it. That was my job.
Yeah.
That's because... The thing with Jim, he was lazy.
Jim really was.
Let me find somebody who to actually do the job, and I'll
do my job.
Yeah, but Bill, he saw me evolve and grow and get into other things, and then I got into a lot of things that were set up by him, and it was really all very accidental, I guess would be the thing. But I never worked anywhere else, and. After I was done, I was at IOD for weekends.
Well, we almost did a show together.
Yeah.
I remember we were having planning meetings in the conference room and talking about what comedy services to look at. And Kelly Craig, I think, was going to be on the show with us. And then I think Channel 10 found out that she was looking at doing that. And they said, I don't think... You might better look at your contract, and that was the end of it. But we almost did a show on IOD. But they wanted you to do mornings, and you only wanted to do middays, which I don't blame you a bit in the world.
Yeah.
But what I was trying to get around to is, as the sports caster for Y100, you've attended a few Super Bowls in your day, and here we are. What is it, Super Bowl 54?
I don't know.
I don't know either.
I don't even know what year I'm in.
I don't know sports.
Yeah.
So, but tell us some of your memories of Super Bowls.
Okay, the Super Bowl is the worst football game you could ever possibly attend. It's absolutely horrific. And it's because it's all the people. It's not like if you have it in Miami, it isn't like you get Miami people.
Right.
You get people from Detroit and from New York and from here and there. And there's so much going on that you're never really doing anything. And it just was, I would have much rather watched it on TV. But I went to about, 4 or 5 of them. I went in Tampa, one. I think I went, whatever, I can't remember them all.
Well, we had a few down here. We've had a few, so I'm sure you probably attended some.
Yeah, I did. I did.
But it's almost like there's, the way you're putting it.
It's like not going to the game.
Right. It's like there's so much else going on.
Right.
The game is almost secondary to everything else. And
That's exactly what it's like.
And it's such a corporate thing now. I think you were saying earlier, even though you go to a normal game, you're going with football fans. If you're going to a Dolphin game, you're going with Dolphin fans.
Right.
And now you're going to a game where probably more than half the people don't really know anything about football.
Oh, yeah.
It's just an event. It's a corporate thing. They got an invitation because one of their clients invited
corporate
them.
people, and they get the thing. They bid a big sweep. But even that, I'm told that's wearing out and is not as big a deal as it used to be. But it's not a how can I say it? It's not a game you really want to go to. I went to 1 or 2 of them, and I was like, Jesus, get me out of here. I'll go home.
I would expect just just on the crush of people, the amount of crowd makes parking a hassle, and
everything's
trying to get it to your seat is a hassle, and so it's I could see where it would be a lot more fun until. Plus, you get to watch the commercials on TV, and a lot of times they're
it was I don't know 3, 4 whatever I went. I dreaded it. It was just like, oh God. But Bill Tanner, he'd go to the thing, call up, and
right.
But it was just horrible.
Was there any one experience of all the Super Bowls that you've been to? Is there any one experience that stands out in your mind that was a positive experience or a disaster?
No, there was a very significant event that took place. The bus came. And I got on it as quick as I could, and I got the hell out of there. Okay? It was horrible.
Oh, man.
There was nothing redeemable about it at all. And now, that's me. Mm-hmm. So, a lot of people seem to enjoy it. I really didn't. I didn't. I'd been to every kind of show there was, so there was not much really to do.
As we said, it's Tampa Bay Buccaneers and Kansas City Chiefs, and it's Tom Brady, who's had, I think, 8 Super Bowls.
9.
And Mahomes, I think, who has 1.
Well, he's young.
So we're gonna put you on the spot, and this is going to be on the internet for all time. You strike me as the type of person who enjoys, shall we say, predicting the outcome of games. Did I put that well?
Tom Brady.
You think the Bucs are going to do it?
Well, it's a pick'em game. I mean, really.
What's that, a pick'em game?
A pick'em game, you got two good teams.
Right.
So you got to pick one. But remember, Tom, he won the game before the Super Bowl game. In other words, he won when his team played last week.
The playoff.
Yeah, the playoffs. They won.
Right.
So. Well,
that's why they're in the Super Bowl. So you think is it just Brady on his own abilities versus Mahomes, or do you think there's going to be, because a lot of people are talking about home field advantage. Tampa, I don't think this has ever happened in a Super Bowl where one of the teams in the game is playing in their home stadium.
Home stadium, yeah.
And is that an advantage?
Oh yeah. You want to be, but it's so, the Super Bowl is so frenetic that you can't really. It's good luck to you.
Well, football games are, I remember having a discussion with Troy Stratford, the great Troy Stratford, wide receiver from the Miami Dolphins. And he was saying that, the difference between the best NFL team in the league and the worst NFL team in the
One
league
guy.
is such a fraction. It's so marginal. And you know, they're an NFL football team. Even the worst NFL football team is not horrible. They're not horrible athletes. They didn't get in the NFL because they were bad. They're all great athletes. He said to me, teams don't win NFL games. They lose them. It's not the team that plays the best. It's the team that makes the most mistakes that loses a game. You buy into that?
Brady ain't making a lot of mistakes, I'll tell you that.
No, he's not. Well,
I didn't bet on him, though, in the other. I'm betting on him now, but...
you mean you predicted?
I don't have to worry about that anymore.
I'm just kidding.
But I'm going with Brady.
Okay.
I saw what he did in the championship round, and I said to myself, but Mahomes is Mahomes. The guy is good.
And
but
Andy
I mean, what
Reid,
do you think? You get the two good guys,
right?
Yeah.
Which makes it a pretty good game. But Andy Reid seems like a real clever old fox to me. He just,
yeah.
You know, to look at if you were.
You think he's actually pregnant?
I guess anything's possible. But if you ran into him on the street on a bus or something, I don't think you would even give him a second glance. He's not that impressive.
Well, I would put $1 in his bucket.
Yeah, right. Exactly.
Yeah.
But he's a smart dude, man.
Yeah, he knows what he's doing.
He knows what he's doing. So I'm going to go out on a limb, and I'm going to say Kansas City. And
what the hell do you know?
I don't know nothing.
Right, yeah. Well, you just got a prediction that means nothing, and no.
Right.
You know what it is? It's a pick'em game.
Right. And it's who makes the least mistakes.
Those two guys. And the game could end up whatever because Joe Blow missed the snap of a kick.
Right.
And it's just,
or somebody gets penalized on a 4th and 1.
Brady makes less mistakes. You make a very good point. It's all what you screwed up during the game.
Right.
And Brady screws up less than anyone else.
True. Well, there you go. You got your pick. And we're going to call it a day for this particular podcast on that note. And we'll be back next week, and we'll see if Footy's prediction was correct. And if it is, I got a feeling you're buying breakfast.
I'm not buying anything, okay? Listen, I'll tell you quickly.
Okay.
This guy I know that speculates on football, but he doesn't count well. You understand what I mean?
Okay.
In other words, like you owe him $20, and then he gives you 30.
Okay, you have to introduce me to this guy.
Well, I'm not gonna.
I'm going to work on that. We'll see you next week.
Thank you for listening to the Footy Podcast. To benefit, here's help. For more information about the Footy Podcast or Here's Help, contact us at 305-685-8201. If you need help or know someone who has a substance abuse or alcohol problem, you can call our admissions office at 305-685-8201, extension 224. If you'd like to make a cash donation to Here's Help and join the fight against drug abuse, call Footy at 305-685-8201, extension 227. The executive producer of the Footy Podcast is Sam Zacco, COO of Here's Help.